You are shown how to safely lift an automobile with a hydraulic jack and a twin-post frame contact lift. In this program, you'll see the safe operation of common hand tools and be shown how to deal with fire in the auto shop. Many mechanics are attracted to the auto shop by good pay and the opportunity to work with their hands. Repairing a car often involves the use of many different sizes and types of hand tools. These screwdrivers, wrenches, and sockets are used every day in the auto shop. It's important for a mechanic to use the proper tool for the job. Using the wrong tool will slow you down, damage your work, and possibly lead to an injury. Always take good care of your tools. Set aside time for cleaning. A clean tool is safer and more efficient to use. Store your tools carefully. An orderly toolbox speeds up your work by allowing you to quickly find the tool you need. Once a mechanic has identified the proper tool for a job, it's important to know how to use the tool correctly. Master Mechanic Art Sagrin is demonstrating improper technique by pushing the ratchet. This makes his work difficult and dangerous. The correct method is to pull the ratchet toward you. This takes better advantage of your strength and lessens the chance of injury should the ratchet slip. Locate the proper tool and use it correctly. This should help keep the rescue squad out of the auto shop.
Many repair jobs in the auto shop require the use of a handheld drill. Drills come in many different sizes. Most are electrically powered. However, this drill is powered by compressed air. No matter what powers a drill, it can be dangerous and should be handled with caution. Electric drills usually have a cord with a 3-prong plug. The third prong provides a connection to ground. This prong is on the plug for your safety and should never be removed. If there are no 3-prong outlets in the shop, use an adapter to convert the plug to 2 prongs. Make sure the grounding lug on the adapter is attached to the plate screw so that the drill is still grounded. When working with a drill, it is sometimes necessary to change the bit in order to drill a different size hole. To do this, unplug the drill. Don't risk hurting yourself by changing the bit with the drill still plugged into the outlet. Before you begin drilling, hammer a center punch mark in your work. This small indentation will act as a guide for the drill. The center punch mark prevents the drill from sliding along your work. In order to make sure the drill doesn't knock you off balance, obtain a wide stance by spreading your feet. Hold the drill firmly and put your weight behind your work. This should help you keep the drill under control. When using an electric drill, be careful that you're not standing in water. Water and electricity are a dangerous combination that can kill you. Clean up any spilled water before working with an electric drill.
Okay, that looks fine, Gary. That looks real good. An automobile mechanic will use an electric drill every day. If the safety rules and regulations are not followed, this could bring back the sirens.
Compressed air is used several ways in the auto shop. It can be a power source, as shown with this handheld drill. It is also used to clean hard-to-reach places on equipment. The air hose should be equipped with a low-pressure air nozzle. Use compressed air only on your work. Never point an air hose toward yourself or another worker. Compressed air can be a big help in the shop but it can also hurt you. Occasionally, there will be spills in the auto shop. This mechanic is not paying attention to the oil pan by his foot, and as a result, the pan is knocked over. Accidents like this will happen every day. As the oil spreads across the floor, it makes the floor very slippery and increases the chance of a fire in the shop. This is why spills should be cleaned up immediately. Use floor dry to soak up a large oil spill before applying water. Don't wait for an accident before you clean up.
As a mechanic, you'll often work with combustible liquids. These are liquids that burn easily, such as gasoline. This is why mechanics never smoke in the auto shop. In order to prevent a fire, always store combustible liquids in a closed safety container in a cool, well-ventilated area. This mechanic is pouring gasoline into a carburetor. However, since the container is too large, gasoline spills on the engine. Instead, the mechanic should transfer gasoline to a smaller container. Now the gasoline can easily be poured into the carburetor without spilling. Always work carefully with combustible liquids. In order to be able to see clearly while working on a car, a mechanic uses a drop light. One advantage of this light is that it can be moved to wherever a mechanic is working. A drop light can be hooked underneath the hood of a car, and because of its safety shield, it can be placed near the work area. Keep the wire clear of any moving parts. Never use a drop light that has exposed wires. This light could shock the mechanic or cause a fire in the shop. In order to protect the wire, be careful not to run over it with a car or any heavy equipment. When using a drop light, make sure it is placed securely in your work area. Remember the gasoline spilled on the carburetor? A drop light falling into a gasoline spill is among the most dangerous situations in the shop. When this type of accident occurs, a mechanic uses a fire extinguisher.
The first thing every mechanic should know about fire extinguishers is where they are located. The time to look for an extinguisher is before a fire starts. Make sure extinguishers are placed throughout the shop in easily accessible locations. Next, know how to use a fire extinguisher. All extinguishers have a safety key. This key must be pulled before the extinguisher can be used. These are the basic classifications of fires. Class A, wood and paper fire. This type of fire can be put out with pressurized water, CO2 gas, or dry chemical extinguishers. Class B, gasoline and oil fire. A CO2 gas extinguisher should be used on this type of fire. Class C, electrical fire. Use a dry chemical extinguisher on this type of fire.
Let's review the key points of this program. 1. Know how to use hand tools. A ratchet should never be pushed. Always pull it toward you. 2. When using an electric drill, don't stand in water. Be sure to clean up a water spill before drilling. In the next program, you'll be shown how to work safely with power tools. Xerox antifreeze and coolant.
Auto shop safety. Number 1, proper attitude and dress.
All right, Ron, bring her up. Fine, hold her right there. So you want to be an automobile mechanic. It's an extremely rewarding career. And in order for it to be a long one, you must practice safety at all times. I'm Mr. Segrin, your shop teacher, and I'll guide you through some of the safety rules and regulations while working around an auto shop.
Knowing how to work on a car is only part of what it takes to become a professional mechanic. In addition to knowledge, a mechanic must have a responsible attitude toward working in the auto shop. A busy mechanic may move from a grinder to a tire machine to an overhead chain fall, all within a few minutes. In order to do this effectively, you must approach your work safely, with a respect for the equipment, tools, and potential danger. It's important to approach your work with a professional attitude. Horseplay in the shop is a sure way to get hurt. Always keep your mind on your work. The equipment and tools in the auto shop are powerful and dangerous. Even though it may seem as if they were designed for your entertainment, a moment of fun can easily lead to a serious accident. If you'd like to work as a mechanic, learn to act professionally at all times. Clowns don't make it in the auto shop.
Which clown is it this time, Art?
Right in there.
When mechanics enter the auto shop, they leave their street clothes behind. This is because improper dress may lead to injury. There's no one uniform worn by auto mechanics everywhere, but there is a safe way to dress when working on a car. To start, a clean, comfortable set of work overalls are ideal. Make sure the sleeves don't extend over your hands or hang too loose. Roll them up if they're too long. An improperly fitting sleeve can interfere with your work or get caught in moving equipment. Never wear jewelry in the shop. Metal contacting the electrical system can cause a burn. Dangling jewelry and rings can get caught in equipment and cause injury. For the same reason, long hair should be tucked under a hat or hairnet so it doesn't interfere with your work. If you don't keep your hair away from your work, you may lose it. To work safely, a mechanic needs to focus attention on the job at hand, not on keeping loose clothing, long hair, or jewelry away from equipment.
Here is an accident waiting to happen. This mechanic is working on an automobile while wearing a hood. Notice how the strings from the hood hang over the fan belt of the engine. When the engine is started, the blade will turn, and the mechanic's hood strings could very easily pull him into the spinning blade. Never wear anything that can get caught in equipment. In addition to sleeves, pant legs should also fit properly. As you move around the shop, you can easily trip on pants that are too long. It's also important to protect your feet. Since you'll often be working with heavy metal objects, it's important to wear safety shoes in the auto shop. These shoes have a toe that's reinforced with a steel lining. If a heavy object fell on this mechanic's foot, the reinforced toe would provide protection from serious injury.
Clothing. Wearing the proper clothing in the auto shop is a must. Do you ever stop to think when you order a pair of shoes and you say, I'll have a size 10? One day there's an accident. You're not wearing your safety shoes. And now you have to order a size 9 and a size 10. Remember, always wear your safety shoes and think safety.
An auto shop is a busy place. While you're working in one area, other mechanics are at work throughout the shop. Each worker is concentrating on the job at hand, not on other workers. Some work involves flying metal chips or splashing dangerous liquids. For this reason, a mechanic should always wear safety glasses while working in the auto shop. Your eyes need protection from everything going on in the shop, as well as from your own work. Some of the work in the auto shop involves particles or gases that are dangerous to breathe. The most common danger is carbon monoxide from a running engine. Carbon monoxide can kill you and should be removed by a shop ventilation system. Other procedures also introduce dangerous particles into the air that aren't removed by the shop ventilation system. For example, this mechanic is spray painting. She avoids breathing paint by wearing a breathing mask. Always wear a breathing mask when dust or dangerous material is being spread in the auto shop. If you're uncertain whether a mask is needed, wear one anyway. Don't wait till it's too late.
While you're working, trash will pile up in the shop. This can create a hazardous situation. Oil-soaked rags and paper can combine to cause a dangerous fire. Store trash neatly and empty it regularly. Don't wait for someone else to clean up the mess. When you see the trash is scattered around the shop, take a dustpan and clean up the area.
Automobiles need a variety of fluids to operate efficiently. In the course of repair work, these fluids eventually drip onto the shop floor. Therefore, the auto shop floor should always be cleaned every day in order to remove these built-up fluids. To do this, it's important to follow these simple steps. First, spread clean water over the entire shop floor. Next, apply detergent on top of the water. After you've covered the floor with water and detergent, take a stiff bristle broom and brush the water and detergent mixture in order to lift the grease. When you're finished scrubbing, let the solution sit on the floor for about 30 minutes. This will give the detergent time to cut through the built-up fluids. Next, add more water to the floor to begin the final cleanup. Take a squeegee and push the water toward the floor drain or out the shop door. When the floor dries, it is clean and should no longer be slippery. A clean shop is the sign of a professional workforce.
Now let's review the important points of this program. 1. Avoid horseplay. Clowning around in the auto shop is a sure way to get hurt. 2. Dress properly. Don't let clothing get in the way of your work. 3. Wear safety glasses. You've only got 2 eyes. Make sure you protect them. 4. Keep the floor clean. Auto fluids spilled on the floor can be slippery. Make sure you clean them up. In the next program, you'll be shown how to safely lift an automobile. First, you'll examine the features of the hydraulic jack, and then you'll operate a twin-post frame contact lift.
Michael Harper is a world-renowned poet and a professor of English at Brown University.
I came up in an era when people recited poetry aloud, and we had to memorize. We had to stand up and memorize. I remember memorizing Whitman and having to recite him. You know, we're talking about Leaves of Grass or sections of Leaves of Grass. And
You're watching Iowa Public Television.
National presentation of Auto Shop safety on public television was made possible by BASF, makers of Xerox antifreeze and coolant.
Auto shop safety. Number 2, jacking and lifting an automobile. In the last program, you were shown the danger of horseplay in the auto shop and the importance of proper dress. In this program, you'll be shown 2 common ways to safely lift a car. Proper use of the hydraulic jack and the installation of safety stands will be explained. Finally, you'll be shown the correct method of operating a twin-post frame contact lift. One of the most common pieces of equipment in the auto shop is the hydraulic jack. It's used to lift one end of a car for repair that can be completed in a short time. Before using a jack, make sure it's in good working condition. Check that the jack wheels are oiled and are able to move freely. After you've inspected the jack, you can prepare the car for lifting. To do this, shift an automatic transmission into neutral. All automobiles should have the emergency brake released, and a car with a standard transmission should be taken out of gear. Now check that the car wheels are free to move. The weight of the auto may shift during lifting, and the freedom to move will allow the car to settle squarely on the jack. Before you begin lifting, look under the car and locate a proper lifting point. On rear-wheel drive cars, the proper lifting points are the lower control arms, cross member, and rear differential. There are different lifting points on front-wheel drive unibody cars. On these autos, the front-wheel cross member remains a reliable lifting point, but the rocker groove along the side is recommended as an alternative. Notice that there is no rear differential on front-wheel drive automobiles. Never place your jack on the gas tank or oil pan. A car should never be lifted at these points. Once you're certain you've located a secure lifting point, turn the jack handle in a clockwise direction. Now, an up and down pumping motion will raise the car. Pay attention to what you're doing. The car should lift steadily until it reaches a height that will allow you to work comfortably under the car. It's important that you never leave the jack handle parallel to the floor. In this position, someone can easily trip on the handle. Always keep the hydraulic jack in an upright position. After the car is lifted to a comfortable height, you must immediately stabilize the car before you can begin working. The first step is to chock the wheels. This is done by placing a piece of wood on both sides of either tire that is still in contact with the floor. Now the car won't roll on top of you while you're working. Secondly, you must place the car on safety stands. Never work on a car that is not resting on these stands. Let's take a closer look at this safe practice after a reminder from Master Mechanic Art Sagrin.
Remember, when jacking a car up with a hydraulic jack, to follow all of the safety rules, because if you don't, you could wind up taking a ride.
Now that the car is resting on the hydraulic jack, with the rear wheels chocked, you can place safety stands under the car. However, first check that you're using 2 of the same type of stands and that they're adjusted to the same height. If the stands are raised to different heights, as demonstrated by the slant in this piece of wood, make the necessary adjustments before placing the stands under the car. Again, just as with the hydraulic jack, make sure the safety stands are resting on secure lifting points, and check that the base of the stand is sitting on a level surface. Once the stands are properly placed, you can lower the car by turning the jack handle in a counterclockwise direction. The speed at which the car drops is controlled by the amount the jack handle is turned. Lower the auto slowly until it settles securely on the safety stands. Before removing the jack, check the stands. Sometimes, as the car is lowered, two of the stand's legs will be raised because the car's weight is unevenly distributed. If this occurs, raise the car again. Move the stand slightly and lower the car, checking to see that the safety stand is level. One dangerous practice that should never be attempted is jacking a car on opposite ends with two jacks. A lift is used to raise a car completely off the ground. Never use two hydraulic jacks. A car jacked at both ends is very unstable and could easily roll off the jacks, causing a serious injury. Remember, if you don't observe safety rules while working with a hydraulic jack, you may end up in the emergency ward.
For certain types of repairs, the entire car must be raised. In order to completely raise a car, mechanics often use a twin-post frame contact lift. This piece of equipment uses an electric motor to lift the car to the desired height. To operate it, drive the car into proper position with the front and rear tires an equal distance from the raised yellow ramp between the posts. This allows enough room for the lift arms to swing under the car. When the car is properly centered, swing the lift arms underneath. As with the hydraulic jack, look under the car for a solid lifting point. The lift arms will extend to enable you to reach a proper lifting point, and the contact pad should be raised as high as possible. Once you've found a solid lifting point, tighten the lift arm by turning the knob on the arm as far as it will go. This procedure should be repeated until all four lift arms are properly aligned. Now you're ready to lift the car. But first, make sure no one is standing around the lift. Along the side of one post are the lifting controls. The control handle is pushed up in order to lift the car. To begin, raise the car only about 6 inches off the floor and stop the lift by removing your hand from the control handle. Now, shake the car to check that it's resting securely on all 4 contact points. Do this while the car is just inches off the ground, in case there are any problems. Once you're satisfied the car is resting safely on the contact points, continue lifting. Notice the safety catch on the side of the post. This locks every few inches as the car is lifting to prevent a sudden fall. Once work is completed, the car is lowered by releasing the safety catch and pulling down on the control handle. Never lower an automobile until you are certain that all workers and equipment are cleared from underneath the lift. The first goal of every mechanic is to leave the shop under their own power.
Let's review the key points in safely jacking and lifting an automobile. 1. Always make sure your equipment is well serviced. Oil your hydraulic jack wheels so that they can move freely. 2. The jack handle should never be left parallel to the floor. Always put the handle in an upright position. 3. When using a hydraulic jack, never work under a car unless it is resting on safety stands. 4. Know where to locate secure lifting points when using a hydraulic jack or twin post frame contact lift. In the next program, you'll be shown how to work safely with hand tools, and you'll learn how to fight a fire in the auto shop.